What do you think the public's biggest misconception about the trail today is?
The thing I hear the most that is the biggest misconception is that it was an immigrant trail and that people were traveling to go live down in the Southwest. And of course that's what the Oregon Trail is, taking the immigrants from the east to the west coast, ultimately. And most people confuse the two or don't understand that they were two very different things. So I really still think the idea that the trail, the Santa Fe Trail, was for commerce is not that commonly known among the general public.
But the movies that we've seen and the TV shows that we've seen and the stories that we've read, it's always covered wagons. I mean,
yes.
that's if you were to ask people about a trail, my guess is for the average person, that's the image that would come. Yes. So it's hard for people not to think that way.
It is very hard. I think that there's been a great romance with the West, particularly in Hollywood movies, dime novels. It was very prevalent in the early part of the 20th century, in the mid part of the 20th century, and it's hard to not have those images in your head. My experience is there's very little truth in many of those. I think to go back to the reason you're making this film would be that, you know, the Santa Fe Trail is a significant part of Westward Expansion. When I really sat down and outlined that and looked at the principles that really pushed Westward Expansion, Kansas is in the middle of all the stories, even to the point of the gold rush was a major factor. And the secondary gold rush was at Pikes Peak, which Kansas owned at that time. So almost all of the stories, the Mexican War is one of those factors for Westward Expansion. And it's something that was an aha moment for me this year, was like, we can tell this story totally from the perspective of what many historians say is one of the most important movements in American history.
So how does the state of Kansas go about telling that story?
You know, I guess I'm going to turn this question a little bit. We are in the process of reinterpreting Kaw Mission for the bicentennial of the Santa Fe Trail. And we're also in the process of reinterpreting the Kansas Museum of History. And I think what we're trying hard to do today as cultural and historical institutions is to tell the nuanced story. We try to get different voices in. We try to think of it as what it is, which is an international trade route. And that's what makes the Santa Fe Trail a spectacular thing to study and be interested in. And it is as significant as the gold rush. It is as significant as Bleeding Kansas and the Kansas-Nebraska. It is as significant as the Mexican War for the western part of U.S. history. But it is a significant part of this nation and what makes the American nation what it is.